Hey, 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 everybody. Thank God it's Financial Freedom Fridays. I'm your host, Queenie Brown, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 laws of gold. Yes, and today we're going to begin our new series with law number 1. Gold comes gladly and increases in quantity, and there's a whole lot more. Let's bring the Kingsmen on, Mr. Dwayne Taylor, Mr. Donovan Yarbo. How y'all doing?
What's going on, Queenie?
Good to
Family?
see
What's up,
you.
Hope
Queen?
Good to
What's
everybody's
up,
see you.
wonderful.
family? We're doing great, man. We missed last week, so we are revving to go for this week. We're looking
Yes.
forward to it.
Yeah, you guys are chomping at the bit. I can't wait to hear what you got for us. So we're talking
Oh
about
yeah.
the 5 laws of gold. Let's talk about it, guys. What you got? Who wants to go
You
first?
you wanna step to the plate, sir?
Sure, man. I was just monitoring also the chat as well. I mean, it's the best place to start, man. And let me reiterate this. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Donovan Yarbo, Mr. Pay Yourself First. Um, Literally, that is what the first law of gold, also known as money, like most of us know. God is love, so they're interchangeable. God and love is interchangeable. Well, gold and money are interchangeable, but we've been duped to believe that paper currency is money. And notice that I said paper currency. That's all it is currency. It's supposed to represent a unit of account and a measure of gold, a measure of money, but the money has been removed from it. So now it's just what they call a freely floating fiat currency, meaning that it's not attached to anything. It's backed by nothing except your confidence in it. And let me remind you now that confidence in the world for our Federal Reserve note for US citizens is waning and is almost gone, where they don't want to use it as a global reserve currency. But my commercial, if you don't have this book, get this book. If you can't afford this book, it's about $7. Let me know. I will purchase it for you and have it sent to you. If you will choose to read a portion of this book, 15 minutes every day, because let me show you what the back of it says. It's called the Bible for Financial Freedom. This is Financial Freedom Fridays. So, literally, over the next 5+ weeks, we're going to be coming to you straight from the Bible of financial freedom, the richest man in Babylon. And I truly believe that a lot of this information was given to us by a quote unquote believer, but it was put in a scripted text by saying the richest man in Babylon, so that those that were not walking in the spirit would be turned away by that word. Because when you hear Babylon, you think, oh, that's wicked. That's something that I don't want to be associated with. But the wisdom in this book right here didn't come from no one but God, didn't come from anybody but the creator. So let's start with the 5 laws of gold. And one line that I love from this book is in chapter 2. And this is Arcad speaking to a group of men. And he says, if you have not acquired more than a bare existence in the years since we were youths, it is because you either have failed to learn the laws that govern the building of wealth, or else you do not observe them. So there's only 2 reasons. Either you have not learned the laws or you do not observe them. So guess what we're going to do on this stream and on this show right now? We're going to eliminate number 1. You are going to learn the laws that govern the building of wealth. And now number 2 is on you to observe them, to do them, to put them to action. So let's read again. What is the first law of gold? Gold cometh gladly. It cometh gladly, or again, gold as money cometh gladly and in increasing quantity, because that's what we desire, for money to increase. You know, we pulled levers before, money coming. Well, that's not a law. That's just a confession. And sometimes it's just you being a parrot, repeating what somebody else is saying, because you don't really believe that money is supposed to run you down and follow you and hunt you down. God bless you.
Yes.
Um, Gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any person. We're going to eliminate the word man. It's any person that will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. And I'm going to read to you what the gentleman wrote here in the 5th chapter of the Bible on financial freedom, the richest man in Babylon. Any man, you know, when someone's sneezing, that means that somebody else that they're listening to is speaking truth. This is
Amen.
nothing but truth here, and it is being confirmed by the gesundheit that is coming from our host right now. This is not, if you if you don't get anything else that we say, understand right here that if
Amen.
you don't take this first step, if you don't take you can't skip steps. You got to take this first step. Gold cometh gladly in increasing quantity to he that will put forth 1/10 for his future and for that of his family. It's not just you. We're thinking generations ahead. So anyway, it says any man who will put by 1/10 of his earnings consistently. You see, there was one caption. I don't know, Queenie, did we get this caption on the stream that we talked about earlier? That, bear the burden, and Mr. Taylor is going to speak on this, you guys. Bear the burden, take the time, and accomplish the goal. There's going to be some time. We heard those 3 sets before: seed, then there's time, then there's harvest. You don't get harvest before seed, and when you sow the seed, there's going to be some time involved. Man, I'm gonna give myself an offering, man. I feel like I'm preaching. Uh, any man who will not put by 1/10 of his earnings consistently, not one time, consistently, and invest it wisely, will surely create a valuable estate that will provide an income for him in the future and further guarantee safety for his family in case the gods call him to the world of darkness. That's saying that if you leave this world early and untimely, but if you've been putting aside 1/10, your family won't have to go put forth a GoFundMe page to bury you. That will be taken care of, and they will be able to continue their lifestyle without you. Why? Because you were the wise man who put aside 1/10, not less than. See, not less than. Don't make the minimums your maximums. So right now, understand that the first law of money, of gold, is to make sure that first you are building an estate by setting something aside consistently. Therefore, we implore you once again, as we always do on this stream, as I always do, pay yourself first. Over to you, Mr. Taylor.
Man, it's amazing when you like come into the knowledge and the wisdom of this information, how it really does change your perception. It really does change not only how you view money, but how you see this entire world and how you see this entire system is set up. And, there are ancient principles that are still applicable today if we would just really take the time to really listen and apply what is being really said. And this truly is, like Mr. Yarbo said, if you don't have this book, man, get this book. Like, this to me is one of the greatest books ever written on financial literacy, especially if you're brand new to the financial literacy game. We can see the writing on the wall. We have over 40 plus million people jobless. We was talking earlier, Mr. Yarbo showed us something. Everything's going up, stocks going up, everything's going up. But how can that possibly be? That can't be. So something is terribly wrong, right? And they're just printing and printing and printing and printing and printing. And a lot of people don't understand what that really means when you say, oh, the Federal Reserve can just print whatever. A lot of people don't understand, the average person doesn't really understand how detrimental that is. And when it comes to building wealth and when it comes to protecting your family's wealth, it does start with the banner of pay yourself first, right? That is something we have to learn to do, in the church. It's twisted to me in the church, because if you really think about it, like the Bible tells us, where's the kingdom of God at, right? Where does God dwell, right? Where is his house? Where is his temple, right? It's in us. It's not bringing it to a church building. It's not bringing it to that. It's not bringing it to a person. No, it's bringing it to you. You're first, right? You're God's seed. You're first. Why? Because he wants to make sure that you have fruit in your house to take care of everything you need to take care of. And these laws and these principles have been put in place for us to learn and know and to actually act on. And I love what he says here, talking about building wealth. He says, because I learned these 5 laws in my youth. That's a key word, in my youth. Man, for all the young people that may come across this, The the earlier you get this knowledge and the wisdom, you're gonna save yourself a lot of time, money, effort, sweat, craziness, all that. Get this wisdom now. It says, the 5 laws of my youth and abided by them, I have become a wealthy merchant. Not by some strange magic did I accumulate my wealth. Wealth that comes quickly goeth the same way. Wealth that stayeth to give enjoyment and satisfaction to its owner comes gradually, because it is a child born of knowledge and persistent purpose. To earn wealth is but a slight burden upon the thoughtful man. Bearing the burden consistently from year to year accomplishes the final purpose. So, right there, we see bearing the burden of paying yourself first year to year is going to accomplish the purpose that you set before you. Because here's what happens: you have that tithe that you've been tithing, and then all of a sudden, right, you may hear a voice or something say, put it in this, do this over here. And you have that seed, you have what you need to sow, and you don't know what's going to come on the back end of that seed or that tithe that you had an opportunity to sow, to do what? Create increase, to do what? To be able to give more, right? We always want to do it backwards. Me and Queenie was talking, before this. If we understand that the unseen realm is truly the parent realm and the external realm is the child, why are we trying to change the external world when we know how to turn the external world? We do that internally. So the 10th, you learning to pay yourself that 10th, is you learning to say that I'm valuable enough to take a 10th of everything I earn and apply it to myself, to my family, because I'm worth it. My family's worth it. We have to get that in our minds. Like, you make a $900 check and that tithe comes and you got to put up that $90. And you're like, man, that's $90 that's going to you and your family, right? I guarantee you won't be afraid to do that. You won't be afraid to tithe. You give your gifts and your offerings to the church. I'm not saying you don't do that. Yeah, your gifts and your offerings go to your church, but your tithe goes to the kingdom. And who is the kingdom? Where is the kingdom? It's in us. But see, the average Christian ain't gonna accept who their true identity is. They'll say you're blasphemous for speaking truth. It's not truth. Like Jesus said, follow me. Like,
It is truth. It
it
is truth.
is truth.
And
Right.
not only that, they said, and it says in the word that what's good is bad. Good, what is good will be called bad, and what's bad will be
Hmm.
called good in the end days. And so that's
Hmm.
what we're seeing right now. So I hear you. Keep going, please.
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much it. It's a journey. Building wealth is a journey. Put the time in to accomplish the purpose, but get started today. Start now and begin to get on that road of building wealth.
Mm. Wow. So you said a couple of things that were like mic drop moments. The first thing that hit me was don't make your minimums your maximums. And so if you have more than the tenth to give to your family, why wouldn't you? Why would you
Mm.
make the tenth just your limit? Like that's all I'm willing to give. If you have it so that you could, why wouldn't you? Um, that's one of the things that popped up in my mind. Um, this is just good. I need to pick that book back up. Need to pick it
Man,
back
that
up.
thing got some
And that's
glue.
why I said that it's kind of like the Bible. As a believer in Christ, you don't read the Bible just one time and I got it and you put it on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
You constantly nourish yourself from it. Well,
Yeah.
we're on the path and the journey to financial freedom, and we haven't gotten there yet, but we're on the journey. And just because I haven't graduated, doesn't mean that my third grade education can't come back and teach the novice and bring the novice along with us. And that's what we're attempting to do in this. Not attempt, well, yeah, that's what we're attempting to do. That's one of the goals of this, is to bring you along with us
Mm-hmm.
on this journey so we get there together. Because for me to get there alone, or for us to get there by ourselves and then turn around and tell you 2 years later, when you could have already been starting to dig your well before you need
Hmm.
the water, already started starting to lay your foundation before the beams come in to build the structure of your house. Well, we want to help you lay that foundation that we laid already. We've laid that foundation, gotten the wisdom, learned the 5 laws of gold, and now we're observing them. And like a a book that I read years ago but didn't understand it because it was before my time, before I was ready, The Automatic Millionaire, he says in it that the rich get rich and stay rich. He didn't say that the poor get rich. The rich mindset, attitude, what you believe about yourself, become rich, manifest it, like Mr. Taylor said, internal, now becomes external for people to see. And he said the reason that the rich get rich and stay rich. See, that's the thing, man, is staying power. We don't want to just accomplish and attain something that has no lasting power, that has, we take our time to build and grow this beautiful garden, and we don't know that we're calling something that's bad, we're calling it good. Queenie, I'm talking personally.
I hear you.
We're
You
calling
better
it
get out of my
good because
garden.
it looks good,
Right, it looks
right?
so good and so cute.
And something's eating away at it, so now it's taking away the staying power because we allowed something that we thought was good that was actually bad to live and dwell in that place that we were building. So we got to know that you get rich and stay rich by observing that first law, and that is pay yourself first. At least the least measurement is 1/10. Literally, you can live life on 90% of your income if you didn't know that. And if you can't live life on 90% of your income, you need to lower your lifestyle and stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. You don't need to watch Netflix. You don't need to give that $9, $10 to Netflix. What's the T?
Time out for a second.
Oh, go, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I just want to say, let's not say lower. Let's say, let's find creative ways to make more income, cash flow. Let's not
Build it
lower.
up.
Let's do what the action steps that need to be taken to create more cash flow.
Well, and let me say it like this: you need to eliminate some expenses that you don't need.
There you go.
All these expenses you don't
There
need.
you go.
Feel like they're a need. They're not a physiological need.
Gotcha.
They're not a need that you have if the goal is freedom, if the goal is building wealth. Well, that's the what was the name of what you thought was the caterpillar, Mrs. Brown?
That tomato hornworm.
The tomato hornworm
monster,
looks
that
like
green
a caterpillar. Looks like a caterpillar, but it's destroying your foundation. It's destroying your garden.
Yes.
Of building wealth because you think that is good, you think that is necessary, but it's not. You eliminate that, and trust me, man.
Tom said, like
this
cigarettes.
part right here is so vital. Most of what I'm using to build the foundation for wealth, paying myself first, is coming from the knowledge that I now have and that's eliminating the ignorance of what I was giving away freely to Uncle Sam. Now these systems allow me to keep more of that, and I turn what I'm keeping not into enjoyment and instant gratification, but I turn that into the seeds and the water for my wealth tree, for my financial freedom. Because again, that's the goal. Work until I die is not the goal. Freedom is. Over to you, Mr. Taylor.
So before you jump in, Mr. Taylor, let me just translate what you just said.
No, you good.
What you just said basically is that when you think about adding more money into your own lifestyle, you've got to create systems that leverage the systems that are already in place. And so when you establish a home-based business, you now have access to tax write-offs and opportunities where that money that would normally be going to the tax man would now be going into your own pocket as you're paying yourself first. So we got to get clear about that. You have to have a business in these days. You don't count in this country unless you have an EIN. You need a business, period. And so we'll talk about that at a later time. But I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Amen.
And that's good, because the reason you want a business, Ms. Brown, is because you got to know there's a game being played, and you got to be able to play the game.
That's right.
Right? You got to understand that there is a game being played, and whatever portion that you can play it, we might not be able to hang with the big dogs, but we can still use the exact same loopholes that they use to protect our families.
Yes.
Right? We're now in position. I thank God for our CEO, Mr. Harold Seitz, and what he created in Care Bars, because I promise you, if it wasn't for Care Bars, I wouldn't have this knowledge. I wouldn't have this wisdom. I wouldn't be on this journey to building wealth for my family and myself and the people that I know and cherish, and share it with whoever's willing to listen. Because when you get a hold of, oh man, when you see behind the curtain, you can't not ever see this life ever the same ever again. Ever. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever, 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 ever.
You can't unring that
And
bell, huh?
you
No.
can't. And it's one of the most liberating, frustrating, exciting things you will ever do in your life. And we encourage everybody that sees this stream to join us on this mission, because our purpose is truly to touch lives, to touch families, to get them out of a system that's designed to keep you in bondage, designed to keep you stuck, designed to take the life force out of you and shift your perception so you can step into a system that's been designed for you to know thyself, so you can create the cash flow, so you can live the life you want to live, so you can take care of your family the way you want to take care of, so you can go to the places you want to travel, so you can live your life. Because it is truly possible, because we see people every day taking the same steps we're taking, and they're reaching the top of the mountain. Some people are starting at the base of the mountain, some are at the summit, some are in the middle, some at the top, some going on to other mountains. It doesn't matter, just stay on your journey, and that's all that counts. Over to you.
Wow. Wow, that was some good stuff, guys. Thank you so much for today. Is there any other final words you want to share before we say goodbye to the family?
Always. I don't want to get too wordy, but man, I mean, this is it seems simple. It seems like, oh, well, that's so easy. No, it's got to be harder than that. No, man, it's the simplicity of life that leads to the abundance that's already in you, that you already see around you. This world is full of abundance. There is no lack. There is no shortage. There's been a all-out psychological warfare for those that will receive it to believe that there's shortage, that there's not enough, that you have to rob Peter to pay Paul and live from paycheck to paycheck and scratch out an existence and just celebrate on Saturdays, get ready for Sunday, and then Monday is the day that the most heart attacks happen in America, because they stressed out on Sunday to go to work Monday, and when they get there, hearts are failing, men's hearts are failing them for fear. Well, don't be afraid to take these simple steps. I put on my Facebook stream today that everybody wants to be at the top, but not everyone wants to take the steps. And based on statistics, 97% of people don't take the steps. They continue in the rat race on the hamster wheel of life, going round and around and around, giving up 99% of their life force and effort, but not receiving that back. Why is that? Because that's not seed. You're expending that energy. You're literally becoming what Neo found out he was in the Matrix. You're becoming a battery. That time you're spending on a hamster wheel is perpetuating the system of debt. And right now you ran that system of debt up to $26,613,000,000,000.
Oh my God.
And it's ever increasing. Notice the debt never decreases. Why? Because the system is based on debt, and to run it needs more and more debt. And for every dollar, every US dollar, every currency note that's been created, there is a debt owed on that dollar, whether you're paying it actively through financing your life, your house, your car, your clothes, your TV, the trinkets in life that you have, or you're paying it indirectly via your income taxes, via the taxes that you pay. Regardless, there's an amount owed to the creator of that dollar for every dollar that's been created. And once you learn that, like Mr. Taylor said, your eyes can't be closed to it. And we're not trying to go in and be like Pinky not Pinky, but the brain, and take over the world. But we want to take back our world. And the way we take that back is by learning the laws of gold, learning the laws of money, and observing them so that you leave an inheritance for your children's children and take back your freedom and take back your liberty. Over to you, Mr. Taylor.
Man, we can keep talking about this stuff all day, but it's going to lead me into, law number 2. I'm not going to say it, but you want to understand why you don't want to labor for those Federal Reserve debt notes. When you really understand, and we're going to talk about this next week, but when you understand what those things are and what they're supposed to do for you, no, man, I'm trying not to unleash it yet.
You can, man. It's a great teaser, man. It's a
But
great
look, you ain't supposed to labor for them things. They supposed to labor for you.
Yes, sir.
Look, I need you to shift your perception. You are not supposed to labor for those Federal Reserve debt notes. They are supposed to labor for you. If you have to labor for them for a short period of time, that's fine. But you find a way to take those dollars that you created, that tenth possibly, and you put them things to work for you. That's what that tenth is for. That tenth is to go to work for you with God's anointing on it, and it's supposed to rapidly bring increase. Because that's a different type of seed. That's a God seed. Because you're sowing into a God.
And let me put one ribbon on that last statement, Mr. Taylor. When you re-listen to this stream, when Mr. Taylor read that quote from the richest man in Babylon, he talked about the burden. That's the burden. The burden is not on your back to go and labor. The burden is now on for you to take the new mindset that you have and switch the game up and follow and observe the laws. That's the burden, because trust me, the first time you do it is going to feel counterproductive. It's going to feel like, well, this isn't doing anything. This right here is special to me. This is the first gram of gold that I ever acquired and had delivered to my house, right? You know how people put up, in their business, they put up the first dollar in the frame. Well, this is the first gram of gold that I saved and was delivered to my house in the first package that I ordered. From Karatbars International, to put myself in business and give myself the tax breaks to save more gold from the dollars that was being stolen from me. That's a whole nother stream. But this gold has done nothing but sit on my desk for 3 years now. It's sat on my desk for 3 years now, and it's increased almost 30% just sitting there. I stored my wealth in an asset. I paid myself first in an asset, and it's blessed my future by just being here. What's the first law of gold? Gold
comes gladly.
Cometh gladly.
Mm-hmm.
And increases
gold
in
cometh
quantity.
Gladly and in increasing quantity to any person who will start to execute the 5 laws of gold. That's number 1 for me. My bourbon is done. I have nothing more to say. Mrs. Brown, over to you, Mr. Taylor, to close. Thank you.
Man, I'm excited. Like this, when you think about legacy and you think about building wealth, there's not that level of excitement. But when you think about the fact that you're holding gold 3 years and it has increased by 30%, are you kidding me right now? Where on the planet can you get that kind of return?
And that math may be a little short. I'm just giving the general number, but it's
oh my God. And the thing is, we know that with the situation with our financial system right now, with the way the world is going, we know that we're going back to a goal-based system. You're welcome, Tanya. She said, thank you. Great conversation. We know that we're going to a goal-back system. So now is the time to do what we have to do to start to stockpile gold, truthfully. So thank you all so much for the conversation tonight. Tonight we talked about law number 1 of the laws of gold. And next week we're going to go into law number 2. And for the next few weeks, we're going to continue this series, and we're going to all come to the same understanding about what the laws are so that we can operate in them and we can finally acquire our financial freedom. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Thank God it's Financial Freedom Fridays. I'm excited. I'm going to go pay myself first right now. And if you guys are interested in creating your own account, you can get a free account. I'm going to put the link in the comments. If someone referred you to this channel or this show and they are involved or affiliated with Care Bars International, go back to them and they will help you get yourself your free account. But let's all get there together. I'm excited. If you guys have any questions for any of us, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Make sure you share with your friends, and we'll see y'all next week. Thank God it's Financial Freedom Fridays. Bye.
Yes, yes.
Love y'all, family.
God bless.
Love.